Hey friends, it's TJ. Welcome back to another episode of Tea with TJ. And today I have a very special guest, a dear friend of mine who've known each other for quite some time, Q Smith. So, Q, if you could just introduce yourself really quick.
Hey TJ, good to see you. Yes, I was calculating in my head. We met in 2009. So,
Mm, hmm.
what is that? 13 years or something?
Yeah,
My math is
that's
not
crazy.
good. A long time. But yes, I'm Q Smith. I live in New York City and I am from Omaha, Nebraska
Love it.
originally.
Love it. And do you want to share what you do for our listeners?
Yes, I'm a go-go dancer and no, I am an actress and voiceover artist and educator and a lover of life.
Love it. Um, Perfect. There we go. So let's just give a little bit of background on how we met to our folks listening. So while I was in college in Chicago, we met while you were doing Mary Poppins, the musical, the first national tour, if I'm thinking that
Yep.
correctly. Yeah. And you played Mrs. Corey,
Yes.
right? Yes. Beautiful performance, by the way. If you've never seen the show, that role in the show is amazing, and it's a fun show to
Yes.
watch in general. But I remember, and I'm curious to remember, like, see your accounting of this moment in your life
Okay.
because it's a different perspective than mine.
Okay.
But when we met, we were at the stage door of Chicago, the musical, right? And we kind of
Yep.
just bumped into each other. And I feel like there was an energy exchange that kind of happened where it felt
Yes.
as if we knew each other, even though we had
Yes.
never met before. Um, I'm curious to know from you in that experience because I don't think we've ever talked about this. Like, did you
Mhm.
feel that like kind of energy
Yes.
exchange?
Absolutely. And I don't feel that from everybody. And it's like these two young black men waiting at the stage door of a musical. I'm so curious what their story is. And
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of like, who are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for? Kind of thing, or like,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love that y'all were young and black and excited about theater, and you're just so easy to talk to and just excited. You're just excited about
Mm-hmm.
your future. And I was like, when people are excited, I get excited over the smallest things too. By the way, like
Mm-hmm.
if you ever need a cheerleader for anything, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
shake your booty in the corner, I'll be like, guys. I will be your biggest cheer. I love supporting people that are excited about life,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all were excited. So yeah, we exchanged information and went out to dinner. Y'all had me over for dinner at your
Mm-hmm.
apartment by
Mm-hmm.
the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and that was so kind. Anybody that opens their home to me and offers a meal, like I feel like meals can be very sacred. Meals can really
Mm-hmm.
show a person who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
people invite me out to dinner or to their home, I typically accept because I want, most of the time, because I want to get to know the people and the person and to sort of see what's behind, see what's, I don't know, just to see who they
Mm-hmm.
are. And y'all
Yeah.
invited me to your home and it had spaghetti, I remember.
Yeah. I remember.
And it was just
You
very thoughtful.
also,
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember this, but you introduced me to Thai food and
that's
sticky
right.
rice. I had
We went
never had
around
sticky
the
rice.
corner. Oh, that
Mm-hmm.
place around the corner
Mm-hmm.
from the theater. Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's right.
Changed my
So
life.
good. Yeah, right. You will never not eat Thai food ever
Yeah.
again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to just jump in because I know we are um very specific with our time today. But you picked the topic of discussion today, which is things I wish I knew before turning 40. which I find very interesting because no one ever picks that topic. No one ever seems to want to talk about lessons they've learned or a specific bracket of time in their life. So I'm curious to know what spoke to you when it came to picking that subject.
Mm-hmm. Because I work with a lot of young people, that's a big question of theirs. Is like, what would you have told your younger self? And every time I answer it, it's different. And I'm like, I should just write a book on like all the things I would have done differently. But then at the same time, I tell myself, if I did things differently, I probably wouldn't be here. So there's advice I would have taken more, and one of them would be listen to your parents more. Now that I'm a parent, I became a parent at age 43, and my son is 4, and I remember calling my mom when he was a baby, and I was like, how did you do it? How did you do it? Like, we're 3 kids, and our parents, the makeup of a family is so different to each person. And I'm like, we only have one here in New York City. How did you do it with 3 of us? And so that would be one suggestion. The other one would be take education more serious. I was not I wasn't an A student. I was more like B+, C- student. I had the potential to be an A+ student, but I didn't always apply myself. And so I feel like I'm still catching up. I'm a student of life. Like, I love learning. I'm thinking about going back to school, actually. But I would take my education a bit more serious. I would have done more things that scared me earlier on. They say do something every day that scares you. And I'm afraid of heights. There's a couple of things, I'm afraid of. And I think, and once I sort of face those fears, just sort of my whole life just sort of opened up. I see why people say face your fears. One of my professors in college said, what are you going to do after graduation? I was like, I don't know, maybe do a tour or this or that. And she's like, and I was like, I don't know, what else? She's like, go do something that scares you. Go for it. And I was like, okay. So me and my friend went like bungee jumping or whatever, the Six Flags where you pull the thing yourself and it just lets you go. I don't know if it's called bungee jumping, but Superman or something like that. And so I would have done more things that scared me earlier on. I mean, I was fearless as a young person, but I can't imagine what I would have been if I would have kept pushing myself. So those are 3 things that. Oh, and probably listen to your parents more. My dad he grew up really, 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 really poor. And he had all these financial books, and all these things. And he'd be like, come and sit down. Let's learn about the stock today. Come on, sit down. Let's learn about, what's a 401k. Come on. And I'll be like, Dad, no, I'm not. No. I should have.
Yeah, I get that. I echoed that idea that I wish that I could have been in a position when I was younger to actually listen to some of those people in my life that said you should have this to set yourself up for 20, 40, 50 years down the line. And that I feel like that is one of those, especially as a Black person in this country, it is one of those lessons that falls semi on deaf ears at that age, especially in your like teens and early 20s, because you're so hungry for life and wanting to pursue your dreams. And at least from an artist's perspective, I can't speak for, quote unquote normal people, but I feel like taking myself back to when we met, which was like my early 20s, I was not thinking about retirement. I wasn't thinking about, should I put a little money to the side or have something. Even in the idea of moving to New York, I moved to New York with a few $100s and a dream, which was,
honey,
not necessarily realistic. But like I looking back on it now, I'm like, I wish I could have actually set myself up to be more successful in that moment. Thank God that, things worked out. But I could have prepared myself a little bit better. And I think that is just in thinking of this idea of things that we wish we knew. I think that is the actual phrase of like wanting to be more prepared than we actually are, giving ourselves more space to be prepared. What would you say in that time leading up to your 40s? Let me go back for a moment. What would you say in being on the other side of 40? Why do you think 40 is kind of like the time frame that you're looking at, outside of it being the space that you're inhabiting right now? But what is kind of special for you right now in your 40s?
That's a great question. You're good at this, man. You should do this. You should do this. I chose 40s because it has been my favorite decade so far. It has been my absolute favorite decade. When I was coming out of my 30s, I was sweating. I was like, oh, Lord, I do not. Oh, Lord, once I hit 40, it's over, and it's inevitable. I mean, God willing, and, got me to my 40s. And I've loved every minute of it. My dreams have come true. A lot of my dreams have come true in my 40s. And I just felt like I finally woke up. In my 20s, I had no clue. I was touring, traveling the world, honey, living my life wild, just like, My 30s, I was like, okay, I'm tired. Let me just grow up a little bit. Let me just sort of sit down, get a little more focused. I was like, I'm grown now. Like 30s, I'm kind of grown. I got my own place. I'm living in New York City. I'm supporting myself. I'm grown. But I was still, I didn't know it at the time, but I was still like clueless to so many things. And 40s hit, and it just, everything sort of clicked. And not that I'm saying I'm wise by any means, or I'm like have it all together, but the thing is, I'm okay with what I don't know now. You know what I mean? 30s, I was like, yes, I know that. Yes. And be frustrated with the things that I didn't know. And I was just frustrated, like, but now I'm so settled in who I am. I'm so settled in the things that I don't know. I'm settled and happy about the things the little that I do know, and I'm able to share and give back. And so, yeah, that's why I chose 40s, because it's been a great ride.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge a moment, because I feel like this is one of those things that people have come to me and be like, oh, this was planned. This was not planned, y'all. You just said something that spoke to me specifically, because I don't want to speak for everybody. But you just said that you are okay with you're okay not knowing the things that you don't know, which I think is such a powerful statement to say, especially at the age of 40, because that speaks to the type of human that you are, that speaks to the type of person that you are, the journey that you're on, that you mentioned earlier, of like being a student of life, but you're so receptive to life. And I feel like that is a very special place to be, that at least for my generation, I feel like not a lot of us inhabit that space. So is there, and maybe I'm projecting, I don't know, but it washed over me just now in that moment. Do you find yourself to be that kind of person that is very specific in how you view life and how you view the world and how you view your journey?
I don't think I'm specific. I think I'm a person that my grandmother, I mean, all she would say is love people, love people, love people. And she was a very hardcore church Christian like woman. You would think that if, my gay friends would come over to her house or something, she'd be like, sit down, let me talk to you about the Bible. She was so not that. She'd be like, come on in, what y'all want to eat? Peter, fix him some food, because she didn't cook. And then she would leave her door open. My grandmother lived in the hood. When I tell you the hood, I'm from Nebraska. People think that Black people live in Omaha, in Nebraska, but she lived in the hood. And she never locked her doors. We would wake up in the morning, like I didn't live with her, but we'd be there spending the night, the grandkids and stuff.
Hmm.
And we wake up and there's somebody drunk on the couch who just opened her door and slept on the couch last night. She'd be like, "No, there's little Joey, he got drunk. All right, wake up, let's eat." It's just like people from the streets just come on in. They know they can find refuge in her home.
Yeah.
And she lived her life like that. Love people, and so I just kind of try to do that too. Love people. I'm not perfect or anything like that, but I like I said, I want to be people's cheerleaders, because I feel like when they're living their best life, they're inspiring me to live my best life too. So I look for the joy, I look for the sunshine, I look for, I don't know if that's what you would call specific, but I always look for the joy, always. And I just sort of lead with love, lead with joy. That's really it. I mean, politics and religion and I don't know, the war and so much wars. There's so many things that people can discuss till they die and battle, argue until they die, and I let people believe what they want to believe, live your best life. And
Yeah.
if you want to talk about something specific, yeah, we can, but I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to, just live your life, honey.
I
Yes.
get that. I definitely, I agree with that wholeheartedly. That is a position that I think I've been in realistically my entire life, because I've always not necessarily played neutral ground when it comes to confrontation or disagreements, but I have always seemed to fall on the side of like, whatever the problem is, it can be talked through, right? This idea that disagreement has to end in, or even start with, arguments and very high energy and all of this excess emotion. From my earliest memories, like as a child, like I don't think I've ever voluntarily argued with anybody. Like if there was a disagreement that I had with someone, it was a conversation. So I see that in you, and I wanted to acknowledge that. I don't think I've ever asked you this. What is your sign?
What do you think it is?
See, okay, because I know you just celebrated a birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I'm trying to remember when it falls, because if it falls, honestly, either way, it makes a lot of sense of why we had that moment originally. My brain and my heart says Gemini, but I don't think that's true.
I thought I was a Gemini until I was like 18. My whole 18 years of life, I was like, I'm a Gemini, total Gemini. And then I really read it, and I was like, because I wasn't really into it. I'm still not really into it, but it is very it's fascinating to me. I'm a Taurus.
And that makes more sense. Yeah.
And
for some reason, y'all gravitate, like we just circle each other. Like I have so many Tauruses in my life. It's really weird. So this makes a lot more sense now.
What's your sign?
I'm a Gemini.
Okay, yeah.
So Brooklyn is a Taurus, and my mom is a Taurus. So, but here's the weird thing: is that Brooklyn's mom is a Gemini.
My mom is a Gemini.
So we echo each other.
Wow. And my husband is a Taurus. We're 2 days apart.
Wow. That's insane.
Oh, yeah. It is insane. It is insane. We're very different and we're very similar, and it works. I don't know. It just, yeah.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother. So I want to go back to things that you wish you knew before you turn 40. And because you have had you've had an extensive career in traveling the country and the world, being on Broadway a few times, I might add.
Mm.
What do you think has been like your biggest lesson you've learned thus far?
professionally.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll turn that into life too.
To let go, on both ends. Let go.
Mm-hmm.
Once you walk out the door, that audition, you just have to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I'm having a disagreement with my husband, I'm like, just take a deep breath and go, you just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And we both have to do that and let it go.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not even about you. It's not even about you.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't cast you because the producer promised his college friend once he gets or the director promised his friend from college, you know, if he ever gets a directing gig, you're going to be the person I cast. And they have to hold auditions because it's part of this. You have to. And this, I have lived enough to be like, it's really not about you. If you don't, especially if you don't book it, it's like, it's so out of your control. So just let it go.
Yeah. And
also because there are things when I was younger that I really thought I was going to get, and I was holding on to it. I'm like, I need this job. I'm blah, blah, blah. And I was like crying in a ball, like, oh, how am I going to pay my rent? And that's the position I was in sort of with, after I closed Mary Poppins on Broadway, I was unemployed for a while. And I moved apartments and I needed to pay this rent. I needed to have enough money to move out of my old apartment, move into my new apartment with, you know, I needed thousands of dollars. And I had been unemployed for months, you know. I was like, okay, well, I don't have it. And so this audition came up and I was like, for sure. I was like, okay, these people know me. It's Disney. I got this. It's perfect time. And I walked in there. I was very confident. And they were like, thank you. And that made they called me back 2 more times. And I didn't get it. And I was like, I was like full of myself. I was like, I didn't get it? Are you kidding me? And I was a mess. I was like, how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to do this? And I cried. The next day I got a call from my agent, you know. I'm just shortening the story. So it's a little longer story, but there's a show coming out. They're looking for one more actor. It's about 9/11. I don't know if you're interested. And I was like, I don't want to do a musical about 9/11. I was here for 9/11. It was terrible. I'm not interested. And I said no. Next day, they really want to see you. Just put something on tape. It's like, can I see the script? They're like, it's not done yet. It's not finished or whatever it is. And I was like, I got the sides and it was so weird. I was like, all these characters, it's like, it's just so weird. And I said, who's doing this show? And they said, La Jolla Playhouse. And La Jolla is a place that I've always wanted to perform. Like, always wanted to have an opportunity to perform because most of their shows go to Broadway. They house new shows, original shows. And I was like, La Jolla? Okay, I'll audition. That's the only reason why I'll really audition. Because I was like, La Jolla. I didn't know the meat of the show. I didn't know much about the show at all until the first day. So I got cast. And if I would have booked that other show, I would have been in a contract that I probably couldn't have gotten out. And so, looking back, I have to say, I told myself I should have just let it go. I was like, my stomach was in knots. I should have just let it go because God had something in store for me that I had no idea. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm done. It's out of my hands.
Yeah. Oh, that is, I don't think I ever knew that.
No.
And for those that don't know, the name of the show is Come From Away. One of my favorite shows, I think, after moving to New York. It changed everything in how I view musical theater, and how I viewed my career, after being here. And I want to acknowledge in this moment with you in this medium, thank you for saying yes to that. Thank you for being a part of that, because that show, I think, spoke to so many people and helped shape so many young performers out there. because of your contribution to that show. So thank you.
Thank you.
It was a beautiful, beautiful show. I
Mm.
loved it. I have one more question, and then we'll move into our three because I know we are cutting it close. With you being on the other side of 40 now, and also being a mother, how has that influenced like your life, your goals, your aspirations? Because I'm always curious, because based off of how we met and our interactions throughout the time of like being in New York and you being on tour, I've always known you to be this creative that is focused and that is going after what you want. And that maybe it's just been my perspective of being on the sidelines, but I've always known you to be like, I feel like every time I would text you, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm on tour. I'm going to Japan for 6 months," or "Oh yeah, I'll be in New York for like a month doing this, and then I'll be gone again," which I
Yeah.
loved. Like you gave me so much inspiration. Because I remember those moments and being like, "Wow, I want to be like you. Like I'm trying to be out there." So now that like with that in mind, or at least my perspective of you, you know, at that moment in time, and now being a mother, how has it kind of shifted things for you?
That's a great question. You know, there's let's see, nothing else matters except my family. Nothing else matters. When it was just me, like I would take this job, it was paying $2. I would take that job. I would just do work because I liked working and I liked meeting people. And even if I couldn't pay my rent for 2 months, I was like, I want to do this show. So I would just do the show and just pay my rent $100 a week if I could, you know. And I would just do it. It was just me, you know, soloing life. And with my son, like I have turned down a number of auditions and a few offers because nothing more matters than my son. And so if I get an audition, I put my son in the forefront of my mind, and I'm like, is this serving him? Will he be proud of his mom? Will I bring enough money in for my family if I take this? Is this selfish? He's always at the front of my mind. And there are things I would have said yes to if I were solo in a heartbeat. And those same things, you know, they come up today. Sometimes I would have to say no because he matters so much to me. And I want him to be proud of me. And I want my husband to be proud of me. And I want young black and brown little girls to look at me and be like, yeah, she did that. I want to do that too. So nothing, if I don't book that gig, if I don't hit that note like I wanted to in a performance or a show, if I forget a line, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It used to back in the day, like, oh, I just beat myself up. Oh my gosh, I didn't do that right. I didn't obsess over it. And I'm like, I ain't got time for it. I got to go home and put this boy to bed. You know, I need to go to the playground today. I'm so tired. I need to study these lines for this last minute audition. They gave me 5 scenes. I got 2 songs to learn, and my son wants to go play. So I'm going to show up to that audition with my sides in my hand and do my best. And if it's for me, it's for me. If it is not, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And so he has helped me really put things in focus. And my world is open. I feel like I'm even a better performer because of him. An artist because of him. A better human because of my son.
I love that. I can only imagine the magnitude of what life is when you cross that threshold of having a child. I have been told that I have very much dad energy, and I believe that to a certain degree, but I can only imagine the shift that happens once that actually happens. And I will say that to have been witness to, again, from the sidelines, to have been witness to the birth of this child and this child coming into the world and you becoming a mother has been beautiful. You have such a beautiful family. And we're gonna plug, because I also know that you have a YouTube channel now called.
Oh yeah. Yes, Stallings on the Rise.
I love it.
Stallings on the Rise, and he is full out. My son is full out. So is my husband. Full out.
Yes.
5, 6, 7, 8, go. And they crack me up. But yes,
I love it.
we have a website, and I was pregnant with Caleb in my comfortable life for 6 months. His first 6 months, he listened to Welcome to the Rock 8 times a week. And I was like, I wonder when he comes out, if I play the song, if he would react to it. No, he didn't. He was like,
No. Well,
but yeah, that was cool. I was hoping he would. But yeah, the first time I felt him move in my tummy was during the song, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. And we're all in the church, all the different faiths are in the same room, respecting one another. And I started singing, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. And he went, boop, 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 boop. And I was like, we're married. It was a trip. It was a trip.
God, that's beautiful. That is amazing. I never knew that.
Yeah, that was the hardest thing. Do 8 shows a week pregnant.
So before we go, I have 3 questions for you. It's a little thing that we do on Tea with TJ. And before we shift into that, would you like to share your social media channels where people can find you?
Yeah, if you're looking for coaching or if you have a group looking for a masterclass or workshop, we have our own coaching business, me and my husband. It's called Your Stage, Your Moment. Click the little video in it. You can watch what we offer. My website is my website is q.smith.com. That's QDOTSMITH.com. And my Instagram is Cuperstar, QPERSTAR. I'm not on Facebook.
It's all right. I don't think we use it anymore, but some people
Yeah, not on Twitter either. It's just really Instagram for me.
So 3 questions, and then I'll let you go. What brings you the most peace?
Water.
Love that.
Because is it just one word answers?
However you want to answer. Sometimes it's more.
I would say water.
One is enough.
Yeah, because I feel like God is in nature. God is everywhere. And I feel so close to God when I'm by a body of water or in nature. It's just so much peace.
I love that. Where do you find the most joy?
My son.
Where does your heart thrive?
Where does my heart thrive? Where does my heart thrive? Ooh. I'm not sure how to answer that. Where does my heart thrive? I mean, my husband and son have my whole heart, like 247. Where does my heart thrive? Like my passion or like my people? People. Hands down, if I could, if I had $1 for every person that I met or talked to, because I just found them fascinating, I would be a millionaire. I love people. I love people. And I also love supporting people. And I just love people. I do.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's good.
And with that, I'll see you next week, friends.